I'm going to light the propane first, and then I'm going to turn on the oxygen. The torch has many different kinds of flames, from very precise for doing precision work, and we'll use some of this flame today.
Okay.
And then it has many stages, so this is the second stage. This would be for like normal working, and then it has a larger stage for doing larger size pieces.
Got it. And how hot is that?
Each one is adjustable infinitely. I would guess around 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit.
People always ask me, they go, hey B, how do you like to smoke? What's your favorite way to smoke? And I always say glass. Better than joints, better than blunts, better than a vape pen. I like to smoke bowls, or sometimes a dab rig too if I got the concentrate. So we're here at Revere Glass in Berkeley, California, and we're gonna learn how to make these awesome pieces. I would think that one of these dab rigs or one of these intricate pieces would take like a week to make. So I'm really curious what I'm gonna be able to make, or whatever Dustin's gonna be able to make in a short amount of time.
So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make like a little necklace, a little implosion. It's called a compression marble. This is glass that's called borosilicate. So it has the flux in it is boron, which is different than like a drinking glass where the flux would be soda ash. And this has much more resistance to thermal shock. So if I'm making a complicated piece, then I can heat up part of it, work on another part of it, and then put it in the kiln, have it cool, and it won't crack. So I'm just going to heat this up and make a ball of glass. Kind of rocking it back and forth and turning it and angling it down a little bit so that gravity will create a ball naturally.
How do you decide what you're going to do when you start?
In a lesson, I'll pick what the person is capable of making.
So absolutely nothing in this case.
But for my own work, you know, I tend to design a piece usually on paper first,
Okay.
and then I'll make a limited series of that piece. And I just decide every day what I feel like making, and I'm very thankful that there's people who would want to buy that stuff, really, no matter what it is.
How did you start? Why did you start?
I started because I found cannabis to be very therapeutic, and I wanted a nice vessel to smoke out of, and at the time there were very few glass blowers in the country, and I guess fortunate for me, my friend's mom worked in the dead office in Santa Fe, so she was accounts payable for the Grateful Dead, and we had backstage passes and tickets for all these shows, and you know, I started doing pottery and making bongs and selling them at the shows. And, you know, I'd seen a glass pipe there, and I was basically understood that glass was a purer form of silica than clay, and I wanted to figure out how to do that. So I tried to gather the stuff together, and no books, no YouTube videos, no instruction. Just started doing it.
So when you're designing it, do you think about how many hours it's going to take you?
At this point, I try to steer away from cost associated with producing the piece, and I produce whatever the nicest thing I can produce is.
Okay.
And then I feel like if I tie in finance to it, then that disrupts the creative process.
What you think is the nicest, does it end up being the most expensive or not necessarily?
Expensive is relative, really. You know, for some people it could be expensive, and for some people it might be really affordable.
But there's a pretty big range, right? There's like...
Of my work?
Yeah.
My pieces generally sell for my glass work from between about $300 for like the simplest pieces to about $5,000 or $5,000 to $10,000 for expensive in my what I produce.
So somebody who's buying a $5,000 piece, that's more like art than a functional piece, right?
Again, it's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
You know, like art is what you say is art. You know, if you go to Subway, these guys say sandwich artist on their uniform.
And they are.
Are they making art? that's for you to decide, you know. So
how about the people who buy it? Do they use it, or do they buy it and not use it?
I think both, and I'm not sure that that's the for me, that doesn't define art. For me, how I define art is, does it evoke an emotional reaction, you know, and that's for me what art is about. And so I think by nature of the vessel that I'm making, it's going to evoke an emotional reaction because people are very triggered by cannabis, whether it's in a positive or negative way. There's a lot of emotional trigger associated with it. So I think just by me being a pipe maker, that defines me as an artist because I'm creating an emotional reaction for people, whether it's a simple pipe or a very complicated pipe. How's that feel?
Pretty good.
Like you need more heat, right? Try to hold the glass between this point and this point. You're a little close. And always turn it. Always turn it. The key is to keeping it on center. And so, because it's not on center, it's creating an uneven heat. Start at the point that's closest to me and work your way towards the point that's closer to you. You definitely see that's the V in there, right?
Dude, I see it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Totally.
And really the ultimate tip is practice.
Yeah, sure.